Welcome to Season 2!
We've rebranded, we're ready for Season 2, we've got some fantastic guests coming on and we're ready to open up our audience.
Please always remember to like, follow and subscribe. It means the world to us. Today we have Bianca on the show. She's the founder and CEO of Sebby's Corner. She's also self-diagnosed ADHD. Enjoy the show.
Thank you so much to PCB Partners for sponsoring us. They are a global boutique M&A firm for the digital-first economy, providing buy-side and sell-side services with a focus on disruptive technologies, digital transformation, management consulting, and creative marketing services businesses.
Welcome. Hi, Bianca, aka my cousin. Lovely to have you on the show. So, Sebby's Corner, the founder and the CEO. Also, self-diagnosed ADHD. Talk to us.
Hi, thanks for having me. So yes, I founded Sebby's Corner coming up to 5 years ago now.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty much by accident. I was just trying to get rid of my kids' clothes during lockdown. And then what was a little Hyperfocus became a very successful charity. I am self-diagnosed ADHD. That's kind of been a realization for probably say maybe like 2 years, and actually has been a total game changer for me in just every aspect of my life, how I live my life, my relationships.
Yeah. It makes you understand more about you.
Completely. And I'm like, how did I get to like the ripe old age of 36, whenever I was when I figured it out, without realizing this. And now everything feels much easier. Now that I know that that's who I am, and that's why I have certain behaviors and why things are harder for me than they are for other people.
But your skill is your Hyperfocus.
Yes.
And this is where you are today with your most amazing charity. So you have to, it's positives.
Absolutely. And I always say to my husband, who is one of my biggest supporters and puts up with all sorts of Hyperfocuses, that if it wasn't for my ADHD and the Hyperfocus that was Sebby's Corner, there would be no Sebby's Corner. When it very first started, I remember phoning him. He loves this story, and saying, I've had this idea and I've got like Darcy's clothes, she's outgrown and there's nowhere to give them, and isn't it such a shame? And I should do something, and maybe I'll like be the place where people can come and get clothes they've outgrown. He was like, B, that sounds really lovely, it's a great idea. When I'm home from work, I'm about to go into a meeting, let's talk about it and let's just try and make it work. I was like, okay, cool, great. By the time he got home from work, my living room was full of clothes from every single person that I knew.
Wow.
And he was like, sorry, I thought we were talking about this when I got home. But I just was so excited. And that is also another thing, the impulse control I sometimes lack. And I was like,
sounds so like me in that sense. I'm the same.
I'm too lazy. I wouldn't have done that.
My whole house would have been filled like yours,
yeah,
believe me.
I was just so excited. I was like, we have to do this. It's a great idea.
I want people to know the background of Sebby's Corner.
Yes.
And why the name
Sebby.
Sebby.
I'm aware of it, and why the name of Sebby, and how you came about that.
Yes.
Because I think that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. So that day I was trying to get rid of my kids' clothes, and obviously we were in COVID, we were at the height of COVID, height of lockdown, all the charity shops were shut, and I just thought, God, this is such a shame. Like, there are so many food banks around, and if you can't afford to go to the shops and buy food for your children, how on earth can you afford to go to Next or Tesco even and buy clothes? You just can't. So I thought, well, this is obviously something that's needed. So I was in touch with one of the local food banks and said, can I come and have a little corner, and I'll just do this once a week for a couple of hours while my daughter naps every Sunday. And they're like, yeah, lovely, great.
Wow.
During lockdown.
So it started off literally every Sunday. Started January 21, and because we were just a corner at that point, and I was like, well, we need a name. And Sebby is my late brother. So Jade was very good friends with Sebby.
Yes, my cousin.
Yes. But you were also friends as well.
Yeah,
you
we were
more
friends.
than just cousins.
Yeah, and we were neighbours.
And we all
Me
lived,
too.
Yeah,
The three of us.
we all lived on the same street. And
Can't leave Sophie out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was all very neighbours and lovely. And it just felt like a really lovely way to honour his memory. So that's where the Sebby's come from. And I really do believe that we wouldn't be where we are now if we had a different name. I do really feel like the name is part of what makes us special, and I just sometimes feel like there's a little voice in my ear, like helping, like show me what to do, and I really do feel like that's
and he's with you every day, isn't
absolutely.
he? Yeah,
and people know about him that would never have known about him, and I mean, he was 5 when he passed away, so to have this kind of legacy in his name, I think is very special.
I think it's amazing.
So that's how we started, and we just kind of kept getting bigger and bigger. More families were coming at the food bank, and by this point we were kind of also giving out formula and nappies. It kind of grown by that point. And the turning point really was when one week we had to turn away 10 families.
Wow.
Because we had no formula to give them.
Wow.
And I formula fed my kids, and it's a really horrible feeling being like, I'm really sorry, I don't know how you're going to feed your baby now.
It's terrible.
And I posted on social media, and I was so cross, and I said, you know, it's outrageous in this day and age, and the cost of a box of formula is £10.50. If you can afford it, please consider going to Tesco, buying a box and dropping off, or donating the money.
Yeah.
And 48 hours later, we'd raised £16,000.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, this is something. And what that made me realise...
And where did you post this? On social media?
Just on social media. And when I looked back, like, I don't know, 6 months later, that post had reached 100,000 people.
Fantastic.
More than any post even since we've ever,
Yeah.
you know, even when the princess came, like, we've never reached those numbers before. And I think it is because there is something about not being able to feed your child that really hits home with people.
Sure.
And that's what made me realise people want to help. Fundamentally, people want to help and people want to do good. They just need to be told how.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we've gone with that since. Is we wouldn't be where we are without the amazing people that support us. You know, we give out hundreds of Moses baskets and clothing items, and we don't do that on our own. We are not an island.
Yeah.
And we rely on our donors to make that happen. So we are very much, I like to think, a part of the community and an important part of the
You are
community.
a massive part of the
Huge.
community. I mean,
Yeah.
we've been there. We've volunteered
Yes.
a couple of
I love
times,
it.
and it's unbelievable. I mean, what you have only gone and done, like you now have your own, what would you call it, warehouse.
Yeah.
You've got loads of people that volunteer. You've got
Yeah.
loads of people that
Staff.
work for you, staff.
Staff.
And it's just incredible, like how it's all set out, and you know, families come and you walk them around and what
Yeah.
they need, and I just
It blows me away.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point I was coming every single
Yeah.
week. I felt like I was just part of the team,
Yeah,
knew what I was doing.
But like honestly, our volunteers are like we couldn't do what we do without our volunteers. So the families that come in, they're referred to us by professionals. So you can't kind of walk in off the street and get help. You have to be referred, and that's how we know that we're kind of reaching the most vulnerable
Yeah, how
families.
did you get to that stage of where you have to be referred?
So originally when we were at the food bank, it was like
Anyone.
anyone could walk in. And the difficulty with that is that you'd have families sometimes that would come back lots of times and take different items.
Okay.
And you were like, I gave you a buggy last week and I'm giving you one this week, and then I know you'll come back next week for another one. And it just got to a point where it was like,
Do you need it or do you want it?
yeah, and I would know that actually I've given you 3 buggies, but actually there's a family coming next week and they're not going to get a buggy because now you've taken 3 different ones. So it just felt like the best way to
and
make
it's
sure.
a trust element as well, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't really know what they're doing with the buggies.
Yeah, and exactly. And but more than that, I felt a huge responsibility for the donations that people were giving us.
Yeah.
And especially, you know, when there are families when it's their last baby and it's really sentimental, or we've had people who've like had stillbirths and have the most traumatic things, and they give it with such love and
Yeah.
care, and it's so much emotion attached. And I feel a responsibility to make sure that that is being passed on correctly. So by being referral only, we make sure it goes to families that need it, and also the families that we don't necessarily see. You know, the social workers know their families, the midwives know the families.
Yeah.
We've got calls from midwives saying, this mum's just had a baby, I actually can't discharge her from hospital because she has nothing for the baby.
Wow.
So, you know, that's who we're trying to reach, those people that are sometimes forgotten about.
Yeah, of course. I remember as well one time when I came to Sebby's, I can't remember who reached out to me, someone from there, that said that there's 1 in 3 families that come to the warehouse to pick up their things that are SEN, that have all different types
Huge need. And if you think about how difficult it can feel when you are financially stable and financially comfortable, and then add on the added pressure of having a child with SEN needs, plus you actually don't know how you're going to pay the bills that month.
And they need their equipment. They need...
Absolutely.
And I know that you guys have so many. I mean, there's boxes and signs and things that say like sensory toys
and we
all
try
different ages.
and really take that into account, because for some of these families, like they've called us like their safety net, like there isn't anywhere else to go.
Yeah.
And we try and make sure that we can cater to all of those children, and not like we'll never just assume that because you've got a 6-year-old child you're getting 6-year-old toys. Like we just don't know, and that's why we always ask the question. Even things like we've given out weighted blankets before, we give out like noise cancelling headphones.
Yeah.
Just things that if you are on a very low income you just can't afford
Sure.
to do, but it makes such a difference to your child's well-being and therefore your well-being. And that's
Yeah.
what we're about. It's not just about making sure the child has what they want, it's making sure that the parent is in the correct mindset to be able to keep fighting and advocating for that child. So that's why we're very passionate about it.
I think it's
That makes
amazing.
me really sad.
I know. I know.
I think it's amazing that you have do you know what you need in there? We need a little sensory.
That's what we
that's
discussed,
so
didn't
funny.
we?
We talked about that. So when we get a bigger building, whatever that may be, that is part of the plan, is to have like a whole dedicated sensory area. The problem is well, you've seen it, like,
Yeah, you've got no room.
you've got no room.
No.
And, you know, before this, we were in a tiny room in a dance school, which was great, but we grew out of that pretty quick. And we've already really outgrown where we are.
Yeah.
But the problem is that rent is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And, you know, every time I have to pay the rent every month, I do it so begrudgingly. But we need the space,
Sure.
and we have to pay money
Yeah.
for it. But so I just don't know when that will be. But that is very much on the agenda, because we are seeing now so many more families with kids with
And
extra
they're
needs.
coming
So
to the
many.
warehouse because they obviously need to be with their family,
Yes.
and it's a completely foreign location for them, and that can set them off already.
Yeah.
And then the mum and dad or the mum is trying to gather all their stuff. Tell us more about, because I know when we volunteer there, we used to set up like packs. So we used to get a piece of paper, and on there would say mum and 3 children, their ages, what they're into, their size clothes and everything. We used to make a big pack of all
And
the
you
things.
get that from the referral. They give you
Exactly.
all that information.
Yeah, exactly. So the referral partner, and I mean, you know, these referral partners are incredible. Some of them, especially the social workers, have huge caseloads, and yet they still manage to know those families and know what they need. And I just have so much respect for them. So yeah, they'll send us a referral and say, you know, they've got, so let's say it was my family, they've like a husband and a wife, and they've got a, you know, an 8-year-old boy and a 6-year-old girl. These are the clothes sizes they need. The boy's really interested in Pokemon and the girl's really into Barbie, and then we would try and pack accordingly. What happens more often than not is, I'd say at least 50% now, if not more, you know, they have some kind of autism, ADHD, and they want fidget toys, they want sensory toys, or they've got a specific interest. Yeah. Especially the kids.
Cars.
Yeah, like
figurines.
Yeah. Can you help with that?
Yeah.
And so another thing that we do is we have our birthday club, which is where if there is a child that isn't going to get a gift, we will make sure that
You're going to start crying again at this.
I can't.
We make sure they have a gift to open. We make sure they have a cake. We make sure they have balloons. We make sure that that child gets celebrated
Are you
on
serious?
their birthday.
What about cake?
Yeah, cake. Of course they get a cake.
Oh, this
A
is
cake,
horrific.
and
I'm so due on my
candles.
period. I can't cope.
Honestly, when you came with
I know, I was
me,
a mess.
she was
I
an
was a
absolute
mess.
mess.
But I love the birthday club. It's one of the favourite things that we do. And so one of the packages on that is like a special, like, so we give them different options. Like, are they into Batman? Are they into Barbie? Is it the sensory package? And more often than not, that's what gets asked for. So we buy brand new. Obviously, everything birthday club is brand new. And they'll get these like gorgeous, like new fidget toys, or often we do a lot of like, you know, the lava lamps with all the lights and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just lovely to be able to, for that child to get something that is perfect for them for their birthday.
And how do you usually get all your sensory gifts? Because I know obviously there's like Amazon wish lists and people donate secondhand toys and things, but when there's such a huge sen world and there's specific needs and interests, how do you go about getting all these things for them?
So it's for birthday club. What we'll often do if it's a child like that who has very specific needs, we will do an Amazon wish list, and we'll tell you know, our supporters enough about the family for them to feel connected. We'll always change the name because it's part of protecting our family's identity.
Yeah, no.
So we will come up with a name, and we will put on our wish list things like, you know, the sensory lights and, you know, whatever it is that they're, or if they've got a special interest. We had a little boy recently who was absolutely obsessed with countries. So we got him like a globe, and we got him a puzzle with a map of the world, and like that was like living his best life. That
Oh,
made
yeah.
him so happy.
Do you get to see, do they open their presents in front of you?
It depends.
Okay.
So it depends whether the family pick it up or the referral partner pick it
Right.
up. But when I mean, you have to be there when some of the families come pick it up, because
I couldn't.
honestly.
I could need to
be
see
a
it.
blubbering mess.
Yeah, it is. And the parents often are just so
Grateful.
they cry
Yeah.
because it's just giving them the opportunity to do like.
And you want to give everything to your child,
Exactly,
right?
and I think that is what is a lot of not spoken about when we think about families that are living in these desperate circumstances. You know, we have families that are, you know, regular 2-parent families, both parents working, but still can't make ends meet. The boiler just broke, and that's just sent them over the edge.
Yeah.
Or we've got women who are escaping domestic violence, men who are escaping domestic violence. That's not spoken about enough. Or, you know, women that are fleeing trafficking and slavery and all these awful situations.
And it's happening way more than we know, right?
Way more than we know, and in places that we know. Like, you know, I live in Bournemouth. I can't even tell you how many families we get referred from Bournemouth are literally almost my neighbours.
On your
Yeah.
doorstep.
On our
Well, they
doorstep,
say
and we
now,
don't
there was
think
an
about
article
it.
recently, I think it's 1 in 3 roads, there's trafficking that takes
Yeah,
place.
that
Like, it's
doesn't surprise
crazy.
us. It is crazy.
Yeah.
And it's just everywhere. And I think what is so hard for these families is that all you want to do is provide for your child. and the guilt and the shame that comes with that's what we're trying to eradicate. So at Christmas, when we have our Christmas grotto, the families come in and they choose. So we have different sections all laid out like a shop, and they can choose. They have that autonomy. They get points. They get 10 points for every child that they have, and all the toys have got a points number on them, and they shop with their points as if they were in a shop.
Gorgeous.
And that gives them back that autonomy. And we have a massive... At Christmas, the sensory section is always the most popular. We cannot keep it stocked. We can't keep it stocked.
I can imagine. Do you not have any send charities or anything like that donate things?
So we have some amazing corporate supporters who give toys, but I have to admit, it's very rarely sensory stuff. It's very mainstream. It's your Barbies, your whatever else, your Marvels.
Yeah, there are so many kids that need the sensory these days, way more than I think people are even aware of.
Yeah, well, I mean,
there's my brain going a million miles an hour. How can we get some sensory toys to Sebby's Corner?
I mean, we'd love that. Just because otherwise you feel like you're not meeting that need. You know, I don't want a family to come and be like, well, nothing here is appropriate. So yeah, answers on a postcard.
Yeah, I can imagine. So forget the send side.
Yes.
I know, obviously, that's what we always talk about all day long. If you are there times, and I've seen that there's times, and it must be really, really stressful, where you cannot meet the family's needs if they're desperate for a buggy and you've run out of buggies and things like that.
And that's what it's usually buggies. So buggies, the things that we've had often, if these come in, they'll go out the same day. So double buggies will always pretty much go out the same day. They are like gold dust buggies, especially double buggies.
So have you got people on like a wait?
I find them the worst.
Have you got people on like a wait list?
So no, it doesn't work like that. So basically, you are referred. You book your appointment to come pick stuff up, and if one comes in on the day that you are picking up. So what will happen is, let's say Sophie's been in the week before and packed it for you. She'll make a note, missing the buggy. We don't have any buggies. When the family comes, we'll look at the list and be like, okay, everything's packed for you. Go through it with them. Oh, we didn't have a buggy. Oh, let me just go check see if one's come in since then. Okay. And often I've had someone at the door donating a buggy and been like not even taking it through. I'm literally like handing it back out again.
Okay.
Same with bouncers, play mats, all these things.
So if you don't have any of those and the family are there,
that's when you do your Amazon.
Will you still get it to them, or you have to say, I'm really sorry, you're here, there's no buggy?
We don't have. And that's why we really want to encourage people to donate. It's like with our website, it's just so easy. Like you book a slot, usually like the next day or the day after, and you just come and bring it. And I promise it goes to really it goes really where it's needed.
Yeah.
And look, I appreciate times are harder for everyone. People sometimes need to sell their buggies or they give them to family members. So it's not always possible. But if you are looking for somewhere, we're always so happy to take it.
Yeah.
And if you think for some of these families as well, especially a buggy, like that can be a lifeline for a mum that is stuck at home with 3 children that, lives on the 10th floor of a flat that has no way of getting out otherwise. Yeah. It literally is a lifeline for her. They can go to the park. We had a story a few months ago where a school called us and were like, we've got 2 children, siblings. Mum's just had a new baby, and the children haven't been at school all week because the mum has no way of getting the 3 of them to school with the baby. So we put a sling in a taxi to mum, and the kids started going to school the next day. So you don't realise little things like that. They literally are life-changing for families.
That is just unbelievable.
You're going to have to take over. I can't.
It's amazing.
I'm going through my house this afternoon in my garage.
I already saw, without even looking at you, from my side eye, and then the brain's going mad. What can I give? What can I give? This is what, and that's what I do every time I come and volunteer. I message my school group because there's like 60 people on there, and I'm like, right, I'm going to Sebby's Corner tomorrow. This is what they need, because on your website you always have a list of what you're missing. Even things like age 2 to 3 t-shirts for boys. Yeah. Well, everyone needs to wear clothes. They can't wear jumpers in the summer.
Exactly, and that's also really helpful. You have like often with the older boys, so we go up to age 10. We don't go past that, we haven't got the space. But it used to be that always sort of 8 to 9, 9 to 10, we would never have stuff for. And it's really horrible when you've got a family of 3 kids coming in, you've got 3 boys, and you're giving the 2 youngers and you can't give the older because you just haven't got the stuff. And we are always inundated with baby stuff because, like, they wear it for all of 5 minutes. Yeah. It's immaculate. You get so much of it. But you get to sort of the 4, 5, 6 plus, and they wear it,
because you can wear it year after year, can't you? Because they don't grow like babies do.
It just gets the holes in the knees or stained or whatever.
Then it goes in the bin. Because I know you're really mindful, which I love as well, that you won't give things that are stained or that have holes in. That will have to go.
Very high standards.
Yes.
But so where do you lack in the most, age-wise?
7 to 10. 7 to 10 girls and boys, really.
Are we on that mission?
Yeah. I have a 9-year-old girl.
Perfect.
There you go.
It's just because we are strict, and the reason for that is because we try and think about it from the family's perspective. Like, has to feel dignified. Yeah. my husband loves shopping in charity shops. He loves it. It's his favourite thing to do. But there is sometimes a certain smell when you go into a charity shop.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm really against at Sebby's. We don't want it to feel like charity. We want it to feel empowering and dignified.
Yeah.
And that they're shopping.
And that they're shopping and that the stuff feels nice. And you know what? If I wouldn't put my kid in it, then why should you have to put your kid in it? Because you've got no other choice.
Sure.
So we are quite strict about that. And I stand by that.
I love that. So going back to you being neurodiverse.
Yes.
And having this amazing charity,
Yes.
and when things don't go your way,
Yes.
and when there's things not there because there's no donations, how are you?
So, so I had the most incredible team. I really, really do. There's 7 of us now. And since this whole thing with my neurodiversity has come out, like, I think we all work together much better now. And the girls know that sometimes I will go off and they have to rein me back in. And they are really good at doing that. But equally, they know that I will have ideas that no one else will come up with because my brain just works that way. So Katie, who's our donations manager, will have an idea and she'll say, I want you to think about it because I know that you'll turn it from this into this.
Yeah.
And that is
You're
just
like ChatGPT.
Yes, that's exactly what my brain can do.
Yeah,
and
love
I
that.
trying to see it as a good thing and as a superpower. Like recently we have, this is really boring, but we moved databases and I built us a database from scratch because that was my latest Hyperfocus.
That's amazing. I love that.
And my brain works that way, and I did it, and I enjoyed it, and I didn't speak to Gary for about 10 days because it was what I was doing 24/7. But now look what happened.
That's amazing. So prior to you, it's almost like coming out as ADHD to the team. Was there a different atmosphere then? Because they couldn't fully understand who you are. And
I know they knew before you
I
knew.
have to tell you, she's going to kill me for saying this, but when I told the girls, Jocelyn said to me, she's going to kill me saying, she was like, and did they find anything else?
Brilliant. What else have you got, Bianca?
I don't think
ACD?
so. I don't think so. I think it was just that, and we've never let her forget it. I think they always knew, and I think that now we are open about it and can talk about it. It's very helpful in how we all work.
Well, I think it's closure for all of you because it's the unknown of like
Yes.
certain behaviours and hyperfocuses that, okay, it makes sense.
And they know that I'll probably, some nights I'll be working till 3 a.m. because I'll be mid-hyperfocus. But that doesn't mean that they need to be working till 3 a.m.
Sure.
They just know that sometimes they can't get me because I'm in the middle of doing things and I have to work to my own schedule, which I think I have always battled with in my career and having to have like a 9 to 5 and not knowing why that always felt so hard.
Yeah.
And now I get it. If I'm not interested in something, it's really hard to do it.
Yeah.
And that is difficult when you're CEO and you have responsibilities. But now I know that I will be interested at some point. I just can't keep working against my brain and I have to go with it. Exactly. And that I think has been quite game changing.
Yeah.
When I told a couple of my good friends about it, one of whom is very experienced in this field, she was like, oh wow, you didn't know. Oh, okay. Like,
how did you not know?
Yeah.
Why did you not tell me?
Yes, exactly. Like, welcome to the party. But I definitely think in all senses it has really helped, and I think it's also stopped me beating myself up so much. I think I was always really hard on myself, like, why is this so hard for me and so easy for everyone else? And I think once you realise that there's a reason, and our brains are just programmed a bit differently, and that's okay. And I'm really proud of the fact that where Sebby's is now, like I got an MBE, we had this amazing visit with, Princess Catherine. Like, for someone who really was just trying to get rid of her children's clothes, I feel like I've achieved a lot, and that is because of the ADHD, not in spite of it.
Yeah.
So I kind of I'm really open about that because I want it to, I know lots
Inspire other people.
Yeah, I have lots of friends with girls who have ADHD, and it was just never a thing when we were younger. Like, no one would ever have looked at me and been like, wow, she's got ADHD.
Yeah.
And the signs were raging and absolutely there, but we just didn't, it wasn't a thing then. And I just want those friends of mine and those girls to know, actually, look, you can be successful. You can be super successful.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to hold you back. You just have to work with it.
That's
exactly, and
amazing.
not fight
It's
it.
where you are today with it. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
So what's the future for Sebby's Corner? Do you have a future plan? Are we a day by day?
No, we do. So I think our model is very much, we don't want to pick up Sebby's and drop it and duplicate it anywhere else, which is what we could do. Like, there are other baby banks that do that, some amazing ones that have different hubs. That's not right for us, but just because I think it's taken us so long to get where we are, and we know what we're doing, and I would worry that we would lose something by having different hubs. So the plan instead is to work on supporting families deeper and better. So we
just
do
expanding what you
yes,
have.
Exactly. So we have the essential support. We now have a new service that is just for new parents where they come in and they choose what they want. And it's a bit like a John Lewis, but for families that can't afford to actually go to John Lewis. And we have school uniform, and we've just started a whole real new area of the charity called service partnerships. So, for example, we have an amazing forest school who will give like forest school days out to our families. We have an amazing speech and language therapist who's doing like free like group speech and language like information sessions, and we want to work more on the like SEND stuff as well, and have like, you know, parent information sessions for people like that, so that people feel a bit like they're less alone.
Well, yeah, because I mean, if you leave it all to, you know, NHS and speech and language and occupational therapy, you could be waiting years. And if you can't afford it privately, what do you do?
Exactly. And there's also a language barrier often. So a lot of the families that we support aren't British. They're asylum seekers, they're refugees, or English just isn't their first language. And so much of that navigation involves form filling and speaking to people. And when English isn't your first language, you're already at a disadvantage.
Yeah,
that's so true.
By being we are already known to them. We are a safe place. You know, we use language line, we use translation services. We try and meet them where they're at. So that's why we feel like we're in a good position to be able to do that.
That's amazing.
So one of the things, so like we can't help everyone.
Yeah, I know.
And you know, there's that story of that man on the beach, and there's all those sea turtles that are washed up on the beach, and he's like picking them up and he's throwing them back in, and someone comes along and says, you know, there's a whole beach of sea turtles, what are you doing? You're never going to reach them all. And then he picks up another one, throws it in, and he says, no, but I made a difference to that one. And that's what we're trying to do. Is we can't help everybody, we just can't, but we can make a real difference to the families that we can help. So that's what we're trying to focus on, is helping those families better. And
I love that so much.
So do you ever have like a family that you've seen them grow up?
Yeah,
I mean, that must be amazing to see a baby from like, you've helped them from a newborn maybe up to the age of 2 or 3, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so, and also what's lovely about that is we are a safety net. So we don't want families to rely on us, but we want to support them. So we've had families who have come to us after and said, because of you and because of the relief you gave me in the mental load, I got a job.
Wow.
You know? And things like that. And that's what you want to see, is you want to see families kind of pulling themselves out of this situation, because how can you think about paying off debt or leaving an abusive relationship or whatever it is when you don't know where your baby's next bottle of milk is coming from? You don't know how you're going to change your baby's nappy that afternoon. We had to once literally put nappies in a taxi to a mum because she's like, I have no nappies and I don't know what I'm going to do, and she was completely hysterical. Obviously that doesn't happen very often, but like it was an emergency. And what do you do in those situations? So
do you think that's why a lot of people stay with their partners because of that?
Yeah, it's just another thing, isn't it? It's the mental load. And you know, a lot of these abusive relationships is about like financial abuse. Yeah. And so they control everything. And so when you don't have those access to those funds, and you don't know how you're going to buy that next box of formula,
you physically can't get out, can you?
Can't get out. So we're trying to, you know, we work with all the refugees that are local, and they're incredible. They do amazing, amazing things. And they'll refer families to us, but they'll say, you know, we had a woman, her child arrived in the middle of the night with just their slippers. And then we will, you know, get a whole package to them. And, you know, we just don't, I think sometimes we forget how lucky we are and how privileged we are.
I think we do, because you don't see this on a daily basis.
You don't. And
but I don't think we see it enough. I know you're doing everything you can, and it's unbelievable. And obviously it's all word of mouth. I mean, you've had the princess, you've had people there. But I think as just an outsider and someone that is privileged to not have to go to a food bank or, you know, can go to Tesco's and buy the kids' clothes and things, I still don't think we see it enough.
No, because I can get upset that I can't buy my child, I don't know, something that costs £100 or whatever it is. And then it's like, take it back to basics, Jade. Or, you know what, be grateful for what you've got.
And
because
I think the living conditions often of these families are like, you know, at Christmas we had a family that I can't even tell you, it was like mold and like mice, and it's just horrendous. And like,
I complain of a spider or a leaf.
Yeah, you
or that our room's too small.
Okay, so maybe I'm not going to ICOS and woe is me, but like, you know what, I've never had to choose between turning on the heating and, you know, buying period products. And those really are like the everyday decisions that a lot of these families are having to make. Well, mine needs to pay for the bus pass so my kid can get to school, but she also needs period knicker. So what do I do? How do I choose between those things? So that's what we're trying to help.
That's amazing.
Going back to your ADHD quickly, have you ever thought of getting a formal diagnosis, maybe medication? Is that ever something that's
so I would love a diagnosis, and I think not for any real reason other than I just think possibly part of me still needs that validation.
It doesn't say validation.
But to be honest, the waiting lists are so long,
Yeah.
and I just think of how much that would cost, and
It would cost a hell of a lot if you want to go private.
what I could do with that money. Like, you know, we're a big Disney family. I could, you know what I mean? The number of
Sure.
meals with Mickey I could use that for.
Oh, yeah.
So it's really hard to justify spending that on yourself, because...
But also, what
Yeah.
do you need a formal diagnosis for? You know you have it. It's made you understand who you
Yeah.
are and how things work. Unless you really want to be medicated,
Yeah, that is the only thing I
what
would
do you
say,
actually need?
The thing that I do find frustrating, though, is often I'll say to people, oh, you know, I have ADHD, and they go, oh, doesn't everyone have that these days?
Oh, fuck
And
off.
I literally just want to punch them in the face. I'm like, no, everyone doesn't have
Isn't
that.
everyone a little bit autistic?
Yeah, and it's just rubbish. And I've actually started saying to people, actually, there are more diagnoses of women, and that's because
we've
society
masked,
has failed them.
and because we have masked it
and
for
we
so
are
long.
brilliant. I'm still very good at masking it, and I can mask like a pro.
I mean, you just told us how anxious you were before this. You don't show any sort of
Yeah. See,
anxiety. Are you
it's-
masking well? I think you're relaxed now.
I feel much better now.
Good.
But
'Cause
you
her
do,
cousin's here.
You grow up masking, and you
Yeah.
don't know any different. And I think that's what makes me so cross. It's not, no, everyone is not a bit autistic.
Yeah.
No, we don't all have ADHD. We have struggled our whole lives dealing with it. Don't take that away from us. Don't, you know? So that would be the only thing, is to be like, wave that bit of piece of paper in their face and be like, look, I told you I had
So
it.
it's literally to like,
Shut people up.
yeah.
And I don't think I would medicate, because yes, I do struggle with it. Like, I mean, the girls, honestly, thank God that my husband is as like,
Is he
honest,
typical?
so neurotypical,
Okay.
because my children would not have their homework done. Like, you know, the amount of things that he does to make sure that our home life runs, because my brain does not work like that.
You're so like my husband, and he
Yeah.
won't mind me saying it. He's also undiagnosed ADHD, and my God, he will not. He can have bills sitting there for 2 weeks because it doesn't interest him. He's not going to do it.
I'm exactly going, like,
So
have you
I
paid
have to
that?
do
Have you
it.
paid that? I'm like, oh no, I'll do it. Or like, I used to do the washing at home, but then it would go in the washing machine,
And it wouldn't
I'd be
come
like,
out.
It would stay there.
Oh, I forgot to do that. Oh, I better wash it again. It's been in there 2 days.
Yeah.
And literally, it would be like the kids had no clothes for school, because
Yeah.
the washing had been in the washing machine 3 times, because I
Yeah.
still hadn't got out to taking it
So is that your
out.
husband's job now?
So that's his job, and he's brilliant at it, and his brain just works
And
like
he
that. And I'm very
accepts it, and
lucky.
he's
he knows
okay.
that, and I think it's made our relationship better,
Yeah.
because
You both know where you stand.
yeah, and he knows I'm not lazy. It's not
Yeah.
that I'm lazy. I just don't see it. My
But
brain
also,
doesn't think
you're
about
also
it.
but you're so hyper focused on your other baby, which is Sebby's corner.
Exactly.
And
Yeah, but
when
she's
you're hyper focused
hyper-focused on something that you enjoy.
yes, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Like holidays. Oh, he doesn't know how to worry about. I have holidays so covered. Holidays are my hyperfocus.
I can imagine it is scheduled to the
T.
to
Yeah,
the
exactly.
minute.
Next time you want to go to Disney Florida, I am your woman.
Perfect. Give me a few years. I can't do more than 2 hours on a plane at the moment, but yeah.
So yeah, like I can only do things like that with things that interest me. But luckily, I have the backup. If I didn't have that backup, it would look very different. And the same at work. Like, the girls are amazing, and they know that what comes with the sometimes genius, sometimes a bit nuttiness, is that sometimes things get slipped, or I'll like ask them to do something and they'll be like, you asked me to do that last week and I've already done it. Or I'll ask them to do something and like they're like, but you said you were gonna, you know, and
Sure.
and they work with it and they know it, and I think they are much more understanding because
But
of that.
also, when you're a CEO of a business, you employ people to do certain things, right? So if you know that that's always a weakness, you know it's just something physically that you just can't do, you've got actually someone to do that for
Are
you.
you good at delegating?
no.
No. You have to do
What,
it
you want to do it
yourself?
all yourself?
Yeah, it's
But
her
then I
baby.
don't have the capacity to do it myself,
Yeah.
or it doesn't interest me, so I'll just sit on my to-do list until.
But you
Emma
still
will-
won't give it to anyone
no,
else.
and Emma will be like, I'm just going to take this off your list now, and I'll be like, okay, thank you. And then it's like a relief when it is, but I can't.
But you would
Yeah.
never offer it.
Yeah, and it is hard. It is hard, and I think that is sometimes not spoken about enough. That yes, it's great, and you know I can problem solve. Like, give me a problem, I can fix it. We moved the desks around in the office. Honestly, the girls were talking the whole day about how the desks aren't going to fit, and we're not going to do this and this. I was like, you all need to leave, and I'm going to do it, and it's going to be fine. And it was, because that is how my brain works, and I can see the solutions to those problems. You know, give me an idea, and I can make it better, and I can make it work, and I can solve the problems. But you know, give me some of the compliance stuff that I have to do that doesn't interest me. Well, that's been on my to-do list now.
Yeah.
You know, for probably longer than
So
it
does
should,
your mind-
because it just doesn't interest me, so my brain can't engage
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
it.
Makes
Does your
sense.
mind ever switch off?
No,
Do you sleep well?
no, terribly.
I mean, she's
Terribly.
working till 3 a.m. and then you're getting up and doing the school run. I would be shaking in a corner.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I do.
Like literally, I got up at 5:30 this morning and I want to rock.
Oh no, my daughter didn't get up this morning until 6:30, but I was up.
I thought of you at 5:30, and I was like, I wonder if you're awake yet.
I think is that not quite a typical like neurodiverse thing? Is that bad sleep?
Yeah,
because
just
your
horrific.
brain doesn't ever turn
Sure.
off.
Yeah.
And look, what happens is that then, which I had last week, I get really close to burnout.
Yeah.
And then I said to the girls, I'm really sorry, I'm actually having a mental health day. I'm not coming in. And I didn't turn on my computer. I went shopping. I went for coffee.
Good for you.
And
That's
I'm
important.
much better now at being like, this is what I need for me, because when your brain is switched on all the time, it's
You're going to burn out. You need to reset. It's
And
so
that's
important.
what you said on your latest post about going
did.
away for a day, for
I
a night.
did. It's like your body needs to reset so you can be a better parent or a better person in yourself.
And I've been there. You know, I was in the Priory, 13 years ago, with a complete terrible anxiety, complete burnout, and I never want to get to that place again. And now I know that I have to prioritize my mental health.
Self-care.
Self-care is real, and self-care is not just having a bath by yourself or going to Tesco by yourself, which is what I think a lot of us think it is.
You probably found that really difficult from what you're saying to even say to the girls, I'm having a day off. Like, that's not an easy thing to say.
Or
it
to
almost,
admit.
Yeah, that's it. I was going to say it's to
But
the
now I
admitting
really
side.
want to do that, because I want to model for them that if they want to turn around and say that, that's okay.
And it makes you a better person the next day.
Exactly.
I like that you've got that model idea, though, for them to say the same if they need to.
Yeah, and like we all work.
As long as they don't
really
take the piss
hard.
out
No,
of it.
and that's the thing is none of them ever would. Like, my team are incredible. They work so hard.
Yeah.
But mental health is just as important as physical health. Like, if one of them broke a leg, I would not be like, well, I expect you at your desk.
And you need to sort out all the school uniform.
Yeah, and you need to go pack all the school uniform at the same time. Like, why can't we give the same compassion to mental health as we do to physical health? So I'm really open about it with them. Look, I'm having a really bad day. I feel shit. Like,
They're family, aren't they?
yeah, like, I'm not coming in. And the same way that I know that they'll say to me, look, things are really hard. And I'll say, okay, cool, don't come in. Have a day. Just take a day. And I think that is what makes us better colleagues, staff, and just better
Humans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
I'm on the verge of a meltdown.
you are?
Oh, massively.
Are you?
I'm burnt out to fuck.
Do you want to spend the rest of the day at the home today and not be with me?
No, I want to be
I'm
with
joking.
you.
We're not being together anyway.
But what are you going to do about that, Jake?
Yeah, what are you
I
gonna
can't do anything at the
know,
moment about
it's
it.
different.
It just is what it is. I don't know. What
can
does
you
one
do?
do?
You can't get off the hamster wheel.
No, do you know what I do about it? I voice it about it.
Okay, and that's
Yeah, but
really important.
that's your way now,
Yeah.
and it helps you so much. So you're
Okay, it's
doing
not
really,
about me.
really well. Well, it's about everyone.
Always about me.
So in regards to the warehouse, obviously you're saying already like it's so tight already because there's more and more staff and stuff and everything like that. Is your plan to get somewhere bigger? Is that even like
bigger rent,
bigger,
more
I
anxiety.
know.
bigger space means bigger rent. In an ideal world, yes, but
No plan.
funding is really hard at the moment
Yeah.
across all the whole charity sector. You know, I'm in lots of Facebook groups of other CEOs and fundraising, and everyone is really feeling it. And so I know it's not just us, and I wouldn't want to stretch ourselves anymore. Like, for me, the families always come first. And if it means that we can't, instead of supporting the 120, we keep sticking at 120 families a month instead of going up to 150, but we stay sustainable, then that's what we'll have to do. Look, if someone the thing that I find frustrating is, even you look in Boreham Wood, right? Argos is closed down.
Yeah.
That's an entire empty unit. What's it doing sitting there empty?
Yeah.
Like, I could do some really good stuff with that unit.
You really could.
And that's what I find frustrating. There are so many empty units, but just trying to get into them is
That's what I
almost
feel about
impossible.
houses.
And
You know,
homeless people.
when you're looking for a house and
Yeah.
it's sitting there and they won't take less rent, well, get nothing.
It's
then.
pointless. It's pointless.
Yeah, I
And that's
agree.
what look, to get an empty like that would be amazing.
That
Yeah.
would be unbelievable.
It'd be amazing. This might sound like a personal question to ask and maybe a bit of an uneducated question.
I know what you're going to ask.
Go on. What am I going to ask?
You're going to ask how they make money.
How, when you said that charities financially struggle, what does that mean? How do you pay your staff? How do you pay yourself? How do you go to
exactly
Disney?
what I
It's a
thought.
great question. Well, first of all, just to clarify, Sebby's Corner does not pay for me to go to Disney. Just to clarify that. No. So what happens is we have a payroll of 7. So I have 7 staff members who all get paid. On top of that, we have about 500 volunteers. Amazing people like you guys who volunteer their time. We don't pay them.
Mm-hmm.
We have to pay things. We have to pay for things like nappies and formula. We have to pay service charge. We have to pay rent. All those things cost money.
How do you pay that if you're a charity?
It costs us, if you include the value of the stock we give out, we have to bring in £800,000 a year. £400,000 of that is stuff, like the value of the stuff.
Yeah.
And the other 400 is like literal dollar,
Yeah.
money. The way we do that is we have we get a lot of money from, not a lot, we get some money from trusts. So I will put an application to the National Lottery, for example, and say, this is what we do, and we'd like £20,000. And then they will either say, yes, here's £20,000, or they say, sorry, there's too many charities, we're not giving you. So that's one big area. We also have our corporate stream, which is where corporate, have you been there when we have corporates in?
No.
So,
but I've seen it on your social media.
Like corporate teams have CSR teams, corporate social responsibility, and they'll come and volunteer. And part of that is they donate at the same time, and that's great income for us as well.
So do you have to find this every year?
Yes.
So they don't carry it on the year after?
I don't sleep. No.
So one year you might not get it, and then you can't pay your staff.
We have reserves, so we have 6 months of reserves in the bank.
Yeah.
And that is just in case we don't.
So you are literally relying on people
constantly. And then we have our major donors. So that's people that are like maybe more wealthy than others and are happy to give, maybe £1,000, £3,000 as a one-off. And then everything else comes from the community. That's like people like you, people like generally, whether that's like the London, someone run the London Marathon and do it for us, or people will do bake sales, or we've got a big school uniform appeal coming up where we're trying to fundraise to buy all the stuff for school uniform. We've got 200 children who without us won't be able to get uniform for September. So we're doing a fundraising appeal for that, and that will go to all of our donors, and we're hoping to raise £7,000, £11,000 really from that. So it all comes from literally local people.
Do you know what really frustrates me? I was talking about it with my friends. It's a slightly off topic, but it's not. I'm so worried that next year Callie won't have a 1-to-1 because financially, it's not there. Yeah. And I just said, for example, you've got you've got thousands and thousands of followers on Instagram. We all do. If everyone just put in £1, that would literally pay for 2 years of Callie having a 1-to-1. 2 years. So why can't everyone just, what's a pound?
We often say that.
It must be so frustrating.
We did a big matched giving charity extra appeal last year. We raised, with the match money, £180,000, which was amazing. Wow. But it was literally if every one of our followers gave us a tenner, we would have smashed our... And I appreciate it's not that simple. Not everyone is in the position to do so. Not everyone can. Not everyone wants to. But, the thing that's frustrating is, getting people to know why it's important.
Yeah.
And I often get pushback, people are like, well, why are you paying staff when you can get volunteers to do it, or why are you paying rent? I don't want to give you money for rent. I'll give you £10, but you have to spend it on formula. I don't want you to spend it on rent. And it's well, that's all very well and good, but if
where are you going to store
have a building, where's that formula living? In
and also, how can you expect people to work for free every day? Yes, we can all volunteer when we've got 2 hours a week.
But if I've got families coming in all day,
that's uneducated people.
Yeah, and if I've got families coming in all day and I'm relying on volunteers, well, if your kid's sick and you don't come, I've got 10 families so it's not realistic. So that's sometimes the frustration is showing people we take your money so seriously, we really do, and we are so sensible with how we spend it, but we rely completely on donations. We don't get any government funding.
Wow. Why?
Because the money's just not there at the moment. It's just not.
But have you ever had that?
We got a little bit a couple of years ago, but not very much. We rely on the general public, and we are very lucky. Look, it's been 5 years. We're still going strong, but it's a constant worry. I don't, sometimes I don't sleep.
I understand that. I think just from a complete outsider, there has been so many times where, hi there, I'm running for X. The week after, hi, would you donate a bit of money? I'm doing this. So I must honestly probably spend I'd probably put in a £10 or £20, but you're spending, I'm probably doing it 3 or 4 times a month where people are asking, I can never say no.
Yeah.
Even if I can give whatever I can give. But I think what's difficult is that it's always constantly people asking because everywhere needs
funding. Such a saturated market, and all the charities are in desperate need. So everybody is asking at the same time. So it is a problem. And that's why we're just trying to think of things we can do that are a bit different. We've got this this medium night coming up in September.
We're coming.
You're coming.
Tell us about it.
So we have this amazing medium called Sandra Mitchell.
I've seen Sandra.
She's fantastic. She's fabulous. So we're taking over the village, and she's going to do platform readings. So she'll be on the stage and she'll be passing on messages. We've got a raffle. We've got a bar.
So that's really nice.
And it's really nice.
You're doing something that's fun and they don't feel
you
like
get something
it's like,
out of it.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great night. We've got Cowshed, our sponsor. They're
Wow.
I know, every
incredible.
time I go to the warehouse, I'm like, oh my God, I want all this Cowshed and Medicaid
So every
stuff.
ticket you get a Cowshed goodie bag. Like,
Fantastic.
hello,
Lovely.
The tickets are still £30 for another couple of weeks. So like the cost of the ticket is less than the value of stuff you're going to
Yeah.
get. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And we're trying to be set clever with things like that. You know, you're giving us money, but you're getting something.
And that's
from
what
it
we did with
too.
our event
Yeah.
as well. Like it cost £35 a ticket, but there was food and drink unlimited. There was goodie bags, and you're here for a really great
Yes.
night. And that's how you have to think about it.
Exactly.
Not I'm giving £35
Yes.
just to charity for nothing,
Yes.
even though it kind of should be like that.
Yeah,
But-
but I get, look, times are hard for everybody, and
Yeah.
I that's why we take it really seriously when people do give us their money, and we really try and show. I think we've always been quite good at showing where that money goes. So if you go on the Amazon wishlist and buy a gift, like you'll see it arrive in the hub, you'll see it go out to the family. Like we try and be really transparent.
And you
with
tag
that.
people a lot, and you thank people. I
We
think
try
you're
to
genuinely
be.
grateful. Of course you are. Like it's not, oh, here's another donation.
Yeah, no, we really don't take.
I mean,
it for
every time we
granted.
come in and a buggy arrives, like you, Emma will be like, oh my God, there's a buggy. Like you still get such a buzz
yeah.
5 years on because you know it's going to go to a good home.
And it
so
really
it just
does make a
it's so
difference.
genuine. Like you're such a genuine company.
God,
and
Sorry,
you're
I just don't
crying
feel like
again.
I do enough in life.
Well, get home and go through your double garage.
I mean, you are wonderful. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, it's been really.
I
lovely
have
to
no
you. And honestly,
purpose.
like no
Yes, you do. You
volunteers like you guys.
volunteer.
Honestly, like it really does make a difference.
We'll
and
come
even
back
if
next
someone
week.
has, even if you have like a couple of hours once a month, like that still makes
That-
a difference.
exactly.
There's no commitment. It's just come.
I know.
give
Then
your
I feel guilty that I
time.
haven't been for a few months, but also
No.
like
I mean, I feel guilty if I don't see my grandma.
You should. We love
I
your
should.
grandma.
She's
We should.
96
I know.
years
She's doing
old.
amazing.
I know.
that is amazing.
But yeah, like we love having you, and like even things like this, like it's a great opportunity to like tell people
Share-
about
yeah,
what
And
we
this
do.
is what I want
course.
you to say as well. How do people donate?
Go to the website.
What's the website?
So if you go to donate.sebbyscorner.co.uk, you can make a donation. Or if you just want to go to the regular website and donate your things or volunteer, just sebbyscorner.co.uk.
So I have a question,
Yes.
interrupting.
Yes.
If you are not local, but you've got loads of baby bits,
So the best thing to do is we are part of something called the Baby Bank Alliance, which is an amazing organisation. It's a bit like the Trussell Trust. The Trussell Trust to food banks is what the Baby Bank Alliance is to us.
Yeah.
And it's a link between all of the baby banks in the UK, and we all work really collaboratively together. So what you can do is you can go to the website and you can see where your closest baby bank
That's
is.
brilliant.
And wherever it is, they will be so grateful for all of those things. Just check what they're taking, because we all take different things.
I was going
depending
to
on
say, will you take everything?
so no, you have to check the website, and we would really encourage people to do that, because we've had some really weird and wonderful donations. I think a couple of weeks ago we got like, what was it, like a chainsaw sharpener or something, and I have to be
lovely.
honest, we've never had a chainsaw in need of sharpening, and the thing people don't realise is that costs us money to get rid of.
Yeah, of
so
course
we
it
really
does.
do ask people to make sure it's in good condition. And that it's stuff that we need, because you've seen the hub, like it's overflowing
Yes.
at the seams.
Yeah.
So to have stuff that we can't give out is just not
course.
utilising the space. But yeah, if you go to the website or the Baby Bank Alliance, if you're not local, like giving these items really do give other people like a second chance. So
It's
if you
wonderful.
can pass them on,
You're
please do.
amazing.
Well, thank
Thank
you. for
you.
having me.
Thank
I
you
love
so much
you.
for coming
Thank
on.
you.
Thank
Keep
you.
doing what you're
Thank
doing, and we
you.
love you, Sebby.